Hello, everyone. What's
What's up?
up? What's up? We are back. It's good to see you all here in the chat. Anthony, hello. Jason, always ready. We love that here. I think we had Stephen Overturf, G.
G?
Yeah, how do you pronounce that? That's a super cool name.
I like it.
Jack, hello.
Yes. What's
Uh,
up? Good to see everybody back again.
I know. Don't call it a
Man.
comeback. We've been here for years. We've
Yeah.
actually just been here for 2 episodes. This is our second episode. And we're super excited to be back. If you don't know us, Nick, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit
Yeah.
about the show?
What's up, guys? Nick Longo here. Myself and Andrew have put this together to help you guys through this time and help you build and craft a better portfolio. We're here to do critiques. We're here to do tips and advice. We're building all the shows that are coming up in the next few weeks. So your input is like so important right now. So anything you want us to cover, let us know now. What's up, Narek?
Hey, Miguel. Cool. And so my name is Andrew Hochradel. I run Hoch.co. And we'll be looking actually at both of our websites today because we're talking about being a specialist versus being a generalist. So this is a question that we get a lot is, should I focus my portfolio or should I try to show people that I can do everything? What is your opinion on that, Nick?
Man, I think it depends on where you are in your career, to be honest with you. That's kind of like the biggest component of that. And how, if you have a standout, one of a kind, super dynamic talent, I would say more power to you on the specialist. If you're still trying to figure it out, and we're going to give you some advice on what lane to pick with this, I think the generalist and maybe even the hybrid is something we're going to talk about as well.
Yep, and today the people that we're going to be talking about, we are going to be talking about Emily Kerr, looking at her portfolio, Brenda Chavez, and Eric Todd. But just if your name isn't there, we still are going to be giving ideas and concepts that apply to everyone and really talking about this idea of being a generalist versus a specialist. Also, we'll be asking you in chat to drop your links a little bit later, so make sure you stick around, and we're going to pick a couple winners to get 30-minute segments with Nick and I, so that you guys can get feedback from either one of us, have us look at your portfolios, get a really curated opinion on where we think that you can take your work. So stay tuned for that. Near the end of the stream, we'll be doing a nice little kind of chat and win. So hang out for that.
Is that our first like real contest with real prizes?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
In all 2 episodes?
I was going to say, episode 2 feels like a good time to start giving stuff away.
I know. So how about that? 30-minute one-on-ones with each of us. So
yes, you're lucky. And chat, let me know where you're coming from. If you're representing a school, drop that school into chat. Drop in where you live, where you are quarantining and putting out your best work. Let us know in chat.
Perfect.
All right, cool. So, Nick, I know that you have some things to talk about and show. So I'm going to go ahead and cut over and let you take it away as we walk through this deck that you've put together.
You got it. So our first slide, are we up yet?
Yes, there it is.
Perfect. I just wanted to throw out a cool shout out to Adobe Dimension. This was their new 3D type. So I had to try something. Figured let's try a little office hours. So much fun, man. This is a blast to work with, 100%. Have you been diving into that at all yet?
I haven't. I'm about to. I'm doing a packaging live stream with Jeremy Slagle in a couple weeks.
Excellent.
And he's working on some packaging, so I'm going to try to hop into Dimension, learn some things, play around with it. It seems interesting.
Dude. Yeah, and now with 3D text, I think even if you're not doing anything packaging related or whatever, dive in. Here's a fun example. It took about 10 minutes, guys. This is real fun stuff.
That's
so
rad.
Definitely take a look at it. All right, next slide. Let's do it. So this is our kind of portfolio prep number 1. The idea here is that helping you guys decide before you do anything, who do you want to be? Do you want to be more of the generalist or more of the specialist? So let's get into it and talk about it. Our next slide. So this was a good topic that we came up with because I think I never even considered it this much until recently, as far as branding my own self. The generalist is that person who knows something about everything, right? You are the jack of all trade. So you can do a lot of things and you're not the expert in any of them, but you can cover the gamut in doing a lot of good stuff and doing a lot of great things. The specialist is that person that has that special knowledge or skill relating to a particular job or an area of study. And this could be a fantastic hand letterer. I think we mentioned some examples, like someone like John Contino is a great example of a hand letterist that is basically the expert in their field. You had one other great one you wanted to mention too, right?
Yeah, Tom Whalen is an amazing illustrator, and he does the same style, same kind of vibe for everything, and is a super specialist, but does incredible work. And I'm going to drop those in chat as Nick keeps going so you can look them up.
Yeah, hit to the next one. So here's just a little brief overview. The generalist, prepared for a wide variety of projects, right? You can kind of tackle anything. There's moderate success to those people because for many conditions, and they're less risky. So it's not, if you don't feel that risky in going out there and being the specialist, the generalist might be the way to promote and build your portfolio. It's the best approach, I think, particularly for young designers with an unknown future, especially nowadays where it might be better in the next few months to the next year to be that more generalist person.
Yep. And chat, if you have somebody that is a specialist that you're like, man, I love their style, drop them in chat so that people can get inspired by them as well. I know there's a lot out there. So if you have someone you follow because of their style, drop it in chat and let us know who it is.
Yeah. And then we can form a good bookmark of all these folks and have these at your disposal.
Yeah.
The specialist is very much well prepared for that one project or that very rare one that comes around. So they are the right person to go to, but again, their variety of what they can actually grab onto might be a little bit less. There's a high success rate for one type of style, one type of thing. So they are a higher risk, but they can obviously reap the benefits as well. It's the best approach if you are a seasoned expert in one particular thing. So it really depends, like I said earlier, on where you feel you are on your level right now. Hit the next slide. So some benefits. Your generalist benefits are you're more commercial, you see bigger picture things, and you're a one-stop shop. Now, there's a danger in that too, because let's say you are approached by somebody and they want something specific and you're showing this breadth that you can do. So our next slide is going to tell you a little bit more about how you can get a little more safer there, but we'll keep going here. You are that one-stop shop. So again, that could be of value to anybody out there. The specialist benefits, you are known for that work and exactly that. You are desired, people will find you when they need you, and you can basically name your own prices. Yep. So I want to go into this because this is really what the whole goal of this was. If you could be this hybrid in between, they have found, and a lot of recruiters are saying that if you start out as either a generalist or a specialist, but you learned and you sought out other opportunities to be more broad-based, then you're like the special MVP. You're that person that you could be either one, but you can be as flexible to the opportunity that comes your way, right? Like, cause like you can never be prepared for every opportunity. You want to be flexible and nimble to move around.
Yep, okay? Absolutely. And somebody said, Nick in chat said, Lauren Home has a great style. She does. And she would be someone that is very much a specialist. She's branching out into doing murals, but it is that hybrid of, even though it's not the traditional sense of lettering, she's adapting it to something else and becoming that I can do the specialist thing in other ways.
I think a great way to look at her is she's a specialist in her craft, but she's becoming a generalist in her entrepreneurial. She's putting classes out there and it can reach to anybody. So that last slide, we want to just make sure to get hired and to stay employed in this future. You want to be both types, need to broaden and deeper their skills. So whatever you think you are right now, learn a little bit of the other one. And I think that's just the best takeaway here. And the cool thing is we found a few portfolios for today that'll basically talk a little bit about this and show you some great examples.
Yep. And and it is very much cutting back to us. It is very much a spectrum, right? That it is not just necessarily like you are a generalist or you are a specialist, that you need to find somewhere on that sliding scale of where you fit. And it may be all the way into specialist, but then there might be some generalist kind of hidden away. And so what we wanted to do, and Narek, got it. And what we're going to do is we want to show you guys our work, right? We've been critiquing your work. We're going to continue to be looking at your websites, but we wanted to show you our websites so that you can roast them, you can give us feedback, but also to talk about kind of the difference between generalist and specialist and how to find that in between. Because I think Nick and I have both done it in a certain way, but in completely different ways. So we found that middle ground, but in completely different ways. So Nick, we're going to hop onto your site real quick.
Go for it.
And kind of, if you want to just walk us through it and kind of talk through the idea of it looking like generalist, but then also having the specialist.
Correct. I think you got to think about the person, the audience that's going to come to your site. You are not there to talk about it, so it has to do all the talking. My thought is I want it to look at least professional and built for a customer, not for another designer. I think a lot of times too, don't you find designers are designing particularly for other designers, and that's not going to do you any good. Do it for the person coming that is either going to hire you or pay for your services.
Yep. Which on the other hand, and this is why I love this show.
Yeah.
I am like literally the opposite when we look at my stuff, is that it is very much designed for designers. And it is that I don't care who sees this. I don't care what you think. I'm doing this because it's cool design, and like no direction. It's just thrown out there, which is cool to see the difference of those.
Yeah. And the only thing I have done to show more of a specialist is, I'd say, food, beverage, number one. I've really emphasized that as much as possible. And I've pushed back, maybe even taken off a lot of the stuff that doesn't reflect that. But secondly, I want to, in my typography, in my copy, I want to come off as the strong partner for that company, right? So when they come to, there's keywords in there that really show support, partnership, collaboration. And that I realize if a person hasn't worked with a creative like us at all, they might be a little scared. You know, they might be like, oh, this might be an overly sensitive creative. So I want to give them full comfort that going with me or my company is going to give them that feeling of, you know, we're here to help you out. That's the goal. 100%.
And, I've kind of been scrolling through and looking at Zinger projects, and chat, as you're seeing it, you can really see that it is very much that generalist of, it looks like it's kind of, he does everything, right? He can do everything.
Sure.
But then there's some things that he is lasered in on. And Nick, we talked about this a little. It's the approach of a shotgun of laser beams. That it is wide, but it is also very focused.
Yeah, and I think I'm even thinking of doing one more level of focus, just because of current times. And I think just to kind of be a little bit more on there, but also too, and I'd love to hear what anyone's opinion in chat is on this, but if you are a brand person, I consider myself a brand designer more than anything else. That means I should be able to do a kid's lollipop and a sophisticated tequila bottle and everything in between. Now that might not be you, but if that's who you think you are, you could be a generalist, but your specialty could be custom branding. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. And it shows that we had the distilleries, we had the breweries, and now I'm looking at toys. That it very much is that swing of, it is a little bit of everything with generalist, but then you're focused in on storytelling, of having cohesive looks, of having that specialist within the generalist zone.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
go ahead.
I'll add one more thing. I think the smartest thing to think of is, this is never done. I change it once a month. I'll go in there and do some tweaks, even now more so, changing copy or whatever. But I learned from talking to people like Andrew and other folks that are in our circle. And if someone tells me something about maybe a misstep or a critique, I'm going to listen to it, because I'm seeing this more than anything, right? That's the best thing. Share with other people, show other creatives, is it working, and listen to their advice. 100%. That's why we're doing this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to flip over and talk through mine in the next 2 minutes, real quick. But I want to show you kind of, so when we talked about having that hybrid, I'm very much specialist in my editorial work, but then very much generalist in my branding work. And so I've had to find the in-between. I was specialist for a long time and couldn't find work, and realized that I needed to branch a little bit, but still stick true to who I am and have that specialist. So hopping over, this is the current site of Hawk.co, and this is somewhere that is my generalist. It encompasses all the different parts, but then I have very specialist things. And so small plug, Zealzine released today. It's a magazine, it's a fundraiser for public spaces and public art in New York. So you can check that if you want, Hawk.co. But going over to my site, this is very, very specialist. I made so many decisions of, I'm not going to show my top 10 projects. I'm going to give you about 65. Nothing's going to be clickable, no copy, no explanation. It's going to be very abrasive, just layered over each other and stuff that I don't care. And so this is 100%. Not everyone's going to want to be a part of this. Not everyone's going to want to hire for this, but I would get very specific inquiries for projects that fit this style and fit this vibe, and is the work that I wanted to do. And so this was me for a long time focused so much on being a specialist, and I still try to stay here because I love being in a certain zone that I exist in. And this isn't wrong. It's just a different way of doing it, of kind of catering to the things that you like and that you want to do.
Yeah.
And yes, very brutalist. And if you're going to be a specialist, you have to do it with reckless abandon. If you're going to be a specialist, you have to say, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm going to do what I need to do, and kind of throw it in the face of whatever is supposed to be, and just own how specialist you are. And yes, Tumblr vibes. So yes, my target demographic for a long time was like Tumblr designers, like designers that were angsty on Tumblr was literally what I'm like, yep, that's my audience. And so, yes, so those are our portfolios. Do we want to transition out, stop talking about ourselves, and start looking at some other student portfolios?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. That's our transition song. I don't know why. And again, chat, there's a lot of you that just joined. We will be doing a giveaway near the end of this stream. We will be asking you for information to drop into chat. And then we'll be picking a couple of those. And with that, we'll be giving you 30 minutes with Nick or I to get feedback on your portfolio. So a little contest to win some consulting time with us, which will be super fun.
Exciting.
Yeah. And so fair warning, I haven't slept a lot. And so I'm going to be extra spicy today. So if you're on the chopping block for your portfolio, know that I love you and know that I am trying to help. But it may get a little spicy, but sometimes we need that.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to hop in? Let's hop into Emily's.
Let's do it.
And so today we're looking at Emily Care. And as we go through these, again, even if it's not your portfolio, we're going to talk about broad concepts that you can apply to your portfolio.
Yes.
William, what if your portfolio isn't done yet? They're great resources to help you build that. We'll actually be showing you some in future weeks, like Behance, the portfolios on Behance.
Okay, exactly.
Really easy way to do it. And so we'll show you those in another week. All right, Nick, do you want to take it away and have some thoughts, or do you want to look at a project real quick?
Yeah, I'd say first overall opinion is I get a vibe that it's very organized. It feels great. There's great menu. I like the modern vibe of it. It's giving me an idea of who she is. Maybe a little bit more about kind of how organized it is feels good. Which one what do you want to go into? You want to go into Oz Energy maybe?
Let's do it.
Okay. Perfect. So great. This looks great. I love that she has the nice little legend on the left there. It's telling us equipment, client, her role. This looks fantastic. Going through, I think the project could definitely use a lot more oomph. Like I see the logo, I see it applied in a office space, and then there's a video, which I'm assuming has some great logo animation on there. But what about the story of really telling us more about this? Like, what does it mean? What is it for? I know it's in some of her copy here, but if we saw some of those sketches and we saw some of those dirty logos that didn't work, what was the mistake that was made? Got to fill this up with a little bit more stuff on there. Yep. I'd also look for maybe a more, just a more original font for the typography used here. I'm always a stickler for using something that maybe it has a beautiful readability, but has just enough personality to tell me a little bit more about it than just using something so simple.
I agree. It could use a little more personality. Jason, what's the approximate value of a 30-minute consult? 500,000? Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah, Jason, somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between there, yeah. Cool. So I'm going to hop back to another project. Let's look here. Let's look at the Case Peer video brochure.
Gotcha.
I actually agree with you. I love the layout and the feel of this site. I've talked with Emily before, and this feels like her. I know what to expect with this person. And this, I would say, is very much feels like a kind of generalist approach, that It is very open. It's very welcoming and catering to kind of whatever. And then looking through this case study, I love the copy you have. It's always nice to have that supporting copy. And I love the mock-ups that you have that look like they are real. And it looks like they are actually real. It's good product photography. But again, I want to see more. Even with the motion and even with some of the things you have, I want to see more of concepts of really selling what your thought process is. I think if there is kind of this approach to generalist, it can fall into like, oh yeah, they just did stuff. Like it all just kind of happened. And it might be the right answer and it may look great, but in my opinion, I always see it as like, yeah, like, okay, yeah, like they did it and it worked. But being able to see your thought process to me is like, oh, they can very specifically tailor to something if they need to and become that specialist when they need to, but then stay in this zone where they can do anything for me, but they can do things very specifically for me as well.
Yeah, I looking at this, I know rating in some of it's for a law firm. I don't really feel I'm getting that from these visuals of her graphic solution. And secondly, too, brochures are a tough one. I would only include a brochure. And granted, you might have done this for the client and they might have been extremely happy. Just like we said last week, that doesn't mean you can't change or enhance this for your portfolio. If you're going to put a brochure in there, it better wow us like crazy, to be honest with you, right? I mean, I want to see something so compelling and a little bit more appropriate to the legal side. I'm not feeling that through there. And the headlines and the typography of the logo kind of compete a little bit. So sharpen and focus that hierarchy a lot more. Okay.
Yep, totally. Yeah. And I think overall, I'm looking now at the By Maddie project. That's the hair care project.
Oh yes, I'll go there. Okay.
Yeah, and a question real quick from Alex. Do you recommend having a website or a Behance portfolio? Nick, do you have any hot takes on that?
Yep. You can have both.
Yep.
If you have a Behance, you have a portfolio.
Yep.
So you make
dos.
Right. You make your website,
Yep. And
I'd say every major designer has obviously both.
Yep.
The Behance is for us to kind of even share with each other a lot more. So yeah, have both for sure.
Yep. And I agree. I have the same thing to where the projects that you saw on my site that were totally thrown all over the place, just like in your face, are also on Behance as composed case studies. And so it is however you want to present that to whatever audience it will be.
Yeah.
So looking at this By Maddie project, this is, I think, what we want to see that we were talking about in the other ones, that it has
got a little
concept,
process.
Yeah, it's got process, it's got good mock-ups, it's got your hierarchies. I could still see a little bit more.
100%.
But I really like the way that this one is on that track to being a full understanding your ideas.
I would also say this would be a great one to show competitive on-shelf brands and how you compare to them, right?
Yep.
Like, who is the competitor of this brand? Show me it next to it and show that nobody else is doing anything in this soft blush, like beige color. Then I can say, now I understand why your color choice was this.
Absolutely.
And be careful too, because we're getting to a point now too, and I've been very guilty of this. These mock-ups and Adobe Dimension are so stellar. Don't let them be the star. Let the graphics you apply to these be the star.
Yep.
I feel a little like your renderings here look fantastic, but I'm not excited over the graphics 100%, if that makes sense.
Yep. Steven says that we're moving real quick. We'll slow down a little bit. Make time for you to take notes. And also, you can rewatch these on the Creative Cloud channel.
Correct.
At any point. Also, if you want to rewatch it after the fact and don't want to find the link, Hoch.live. It will live there until the next stream, probably next Friday.
I thought you were going to say till eternity.
Yeah, till eternity. No, that link changes every time I do something live. So if
Eric,
you're ever curious where I am, just type it in your browser and it'll just like find me and turn on a camera.
There you go. See, I love Erica had a few really cool things there, where she had the buy in her logo kind of exploration page, where it had those miscellaneous variations where she had that space between the B and the Y. There's something cool going on there.
There is, yeah.
And then if you're going to show two bottles, or no, she's showing three at the very end. Those look like three totally different line looks. And there's not a consistency. One says By Maddie, one just says the M in black, and one says the M in white. There has to be a legacy. There has to be a consistency. Then you can show me a fourth one that is maybe the high-end special collection one that's like, that's the one that's got a little bit of some added value to it, or something limited edition. That would be fun to show as a fourth. Okay?
Yeah, and real quick, somebody mentioned this in chat. Nick, if you want to help me just pointing up, if you want to get involved and get more feedback, you can go right here at our bit.ly link. Yeah, oh, hello. It is our bit.ly link, or you can just click on that link that Cody just dropped into the chat. It's a great place to get connected, to get feedback, to connect with other students, and especially when we are distance right now, it's a community that we can all come together.
Yes.
No matter what school you go to, where you are in the United States, we are one big school on Slack, all learning together this school of real life and the journey we made along the way. I don't know. All right, cool.
That sounded good to me, dude.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on Emily's portfolio, going back and forth between those ideas of the generalist to specialist.
I'm going to say branding looks to be what you are more in focus with here. I would say be a little more daring with some of the stuff. As I scroll through just the tiles on your main page, it's a lot of gray, it's a lot of black, it's a lot of nothing. I'd rather see some tiles that make me have to click on them to see what's behind them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's hop into the next portfolio. Sorry, Emily, my opinion is that you give off the idea of generalist, but actually have specialist capabilities that I think you should showcase more. I think it very much comes out as like, yeah, I can do whatever, so like I'll do whatever. But I think having things of like, yes, I can do whatever, but here are the things that I do really well, because you definitely have a vibe and a feel and a personal style, and I think you need to showcase that. And I'm going to show you a website. We've talked about her a couple times, but Emily Poulin does this really well, to where when you look through her work, and I just pulled her website up there, when you look through her work, you can tell that it is hers and it's a personal style, but then it also is catered to each of her clients, so she can do anything, but you know that it's hers, and so it is that kind of flex between the two.
Great.
All right, cool. Let's move over to our friend Brenda. Oh my goodness, I forgot how to say the word Brenda, like in the middle of the word.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Brenda. Jaihi, how can you enter the one-on-one consulting chance? We will tell you probably 15 minutes or so. We'll do that little contest. It's going to be a chat and win. So we're going to ask you a question, and you're going to put it into chat, and we're going to watch those answers go by, grab a couple of those, and give you guys a little one-on-one time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hop over to Brenda, which is one word without a pause in the middle.
We're starting with her Behance page, correct?
Yeah, so we're starting with her Behance page, and we've looked at this before. What we're going to do is we're going to start at her Behance and then kind of track through as if we were clients trying to find more information. Brenda is in chat. Hello.
Yay, there you are.
Emily's here as well. Hey, Emily, what's up? Cool. So, Nick, if you want to take it away and give initial thoughts, we can get started.
I love the header at the top. There's something
love it.
Cool about that. First of all, take advantage of the fact that you have the header on Behance. I see a lot of people haven't yet. So I love the color coordination with her logo. I'm okay with that. That kind of looks cool. Yep. I really love her tile selection. Just like in doing the thing for YouTube, whatever your cover shot is, you got to make sure these Behance cover shots are maybe sometimes. I even build them separately. They're not part of my Behance project. I will make one specifically and keep a uniform kind of feel to it. But I love this. You got great colors. I'm getting a good vibe. There's some good detail. There's some good minimalism. I like I'm going to say the variety I get from the beginning is really positive. How about you?
I agree. I think it's very fun. I understand who you are. Clicking on this personal identity project, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh dang it, I left my Slack on again. I do it all the time. I'm so sorry that all of you think that you're getting notifications right now. You are not. It happens every time I stream. Some person's like, oh, you're streaming? I'm gonna go ahead and ask you a million questions. So looking at your personal branding, this is so impressive to me. Like, I'm like, great. Oh my gosh, throw money at her, hire her.
You made a click-clack business card.
I'm sorry, what? This is literally the best idea. Sorry, I didn't look at this before we looked at like some of your stuff. I'm losing my mind.
You're getting live response from us right now, guys.
I was gonna say, where we're going with this, we're going to give you some good feedback of because we've been through some of the rest of the stuff. This is incredible and amazing. I'm giving it appreciation because I think it is gorgeous. I'm going to follow you too.
Hey, Brenda, if you can, did you make those things yourself? The little wood clack thing? I'm so curious to know what you did, because I like them. They look very handcrafted, but I'd love to know if you made them and how many nights did you stay up making them?
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So
great.
Moving through, this work looks amazing. Your case studies look amazing. The way that you've composed and presented yourself here, is gorgeous. This feels very much like I'm getting specialist vibes, that it is like, here's the style, here's the vibe. I understand who you are, even looking at your personal branding to these paint cans that you've created.
Yeah.
There is a through thread for me. I understand that it is clean, it is simple, it is refined. And even with like all this crazy type, it still feels like it's breathing. Like there's a lot of similarities there. And then looking through your other work as well, it just feels like you. It feels like there's a style, and I would hire you for a specific thing.
Yes.
So being your client, and you said that your website's not finished a little bit, but we're going there. You sent it to us, so we're going in. So being your client, we're like, oh man, we want to get more information, and this goes into general presentation for students, anyone who's watching. Always be sure that all the way through things are cohesive, and if they're not, take them down, hide them, wait till you can curate them. And so Brenda, we're not putting you on blast, but we're going to kind of track through and look at how we would see as a client. So we're going to go over to your website, Brench.
Yes.
And this looks gorgeous. There are less projects on here, and you said you're still working on it. But it looks like it is the same thing that we talked about. It feels refined. It feels kind of composed. Yeah, even your case studies here are really, really great. Nick, do you have any thoughts? I went into the case study for the cacao.
Oh, let me grab that really quick.
Cacao.
Where am I not seeing that one? Oh, there he is.
Also, the fact that you're building these out or whatever you're using for these mock-ups, like these are, I believe so much that these are real. Yes. And I definitely think some of them are not.
I think some of them are. I think you made these. I
think you made some of them. There are definitely some close-ups down at the bottom that you can see kind of the digital pixelation in the edges. So I'd work on those.
I see like your die lines and everything where these are folded. This is great.
Exactly.
I know how hard it is to do this in school. We've switched over to like doing a lot of the stuff in Dimension because it's just simple, but building like this, bring a few of those actual samples when you have an interview.
Yes.
If you guys have built any packaging like this of that good and that good of craftsmanship, show that, because I think that's a dying breed. So definitely bring that in 100%. This looks beautiful. My only thought here is the framing and the gutters and the alleys are all over the place.
Yep.
You build this in a beautiful, edit it down a little bit, show us in some widescreens. I think it's going to look unbelievable.
Yep. Unbelievable. And if it is true to you to be in the style where it's kind of wonky, go for it and like go in on it, but it feels like you're more refined than that. And so I'd make sure that the presentation matches what you want to present as a specialist. Yes, the expansion line is amazing. And Deepak, if you want a certain profile featured to look at, and this is for anyone, you can go ahead and tweet using hashtag Adobe Office Hours, post on Behance, post on Instagram, wherever you want, submit your work. And each week we're picking 3 and going through them. And so those are curated. We'll let you know beforehand if we're taking a look at yours. But go ahead and submit them right now. You can stay on this tab, but open a new tab and send it to us right now. You can tag us if you want. We'd love that. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, we look at them all the time.
Yeah. So, okay. So, sorry. Going back, let's look at one more project.
And while we're doing that, Brenda, if you could tell us, the Brench site, is that made for potential employers or potential clients? I'm just curious to know. But go ahead.
Yeah. Let us know in chat. Let's hop over into... let's actually hop into some of this illustration work. So I'm going to hop into this portrait, the blue portrait that's down in the middle.
Yes. Blue?
Yep.
Cool.
So my feedback on this would be, I don't understand why it's here. I think that looking at your other work, the case studies are so amazing and so specific that I'm like, cool, I'm going to hire her for packaging and she's going to do it so well. Like she is a specialist in packaging and oh my goodness, she can kill it. And it feels like maybe you're trying to branch out and feel like you need to be a little more generalist, and say like, oh, I can do illustration too. But I think that your packaging work outweighs your illustration work by like 20 times. That if you are going to focus and be like, cool, this is packaging work, you need to like slam that. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Or just blend the two. Do a passion project that incorporates some of your illustration, maybe that you've already even done, and it could be the backdrop, it could be the overall patterns for a brand, and build out a new one.
Yep.
So she's saying it would be for both. Okay, gotcha.
Cool. And
so perfect.
Even showing the illustration that she has of the chicken on the egg, of the bedtime story, the way that you've done your mock-ups, 100%, like make these magazine covers, make these comic book covers.
Oh my God, 100%.
But, right? Like make this a poster that someone holding, put it in context like you have with your other stuff, and that really would like elevate it to a whole nother level for me. And that feels more on brand, right? It's taking this generalist, like I can do illustration too, and saying I do illustration, but look at it in the context of packaging, right? It's coming back to what that specialist thing is.
Yeah. What I'm curious to know what everyone thinks. We saw her as Brenda Chavez. We saw all the other things. And then we get to here and we see Brench. I'm curious to know what chat thinks about the choice of that. We see what you've done. Very clever. But it's all about perception here too. You know, it's all about, are we putting out our best perception to there? Should it just be her name? And we'd love to, Brenda, why do you find the advantage of that? I'd love to know too.
I agree too. Yeah. And it's something that somebody told me, perception is reality, right? What's happening outside, how people perceive you, is the reality of how you are, even though you don't think that like, no, I'm actually something different. It's like, nope, you don't have an opportunity to justify yourself. Whatever people perceive you as is what you actually are. And so as creatives and designers, our goal is to control that perception, right? We were talking before this that we were like, yeah, let's show our portfolios, and like we're talking like giving feedback, and I'm like, literally look at my website. It's a hot mess. Why am I giving feedback on this?
Yeah.
And it's part of, we've both had that done that job of curating what the perception is. That the perception is, oh, cool. Like, you know, they can give feedback. They have open opinions. And even though we feel like we may not actually be there, the perception is that we can do that. And so you lean into that and go, cool. If that's a perception, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. So I think most people are kind of chiming in with maybe it should be her full name. The Brench sounds obviously more like a studio name. And so if you do want that perception, just like Andrew said, great, let that be your studio site that you're getting hired. But if you're looking for a job specifically, just have your name. I don't think a studio name really works. It could confuse somebody in HR that's not aware of the fact that we do this as creatives. So you'll really heighten your chances of that. So maybe you just have a side project that has your Brench one as fun stuff that you could do on the side.
I agree. Yep. I 100% agree. I think going by your name is usually a good call. I would think I would be more into it if it was Brench Studio, because I would feel like, cool, I know that I'm getting a holistic something. I don't know what Brench is. To me, it feels like a fashion label. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be able to pinpoint, and because you are the specialist in packaging, doing Brench Studio is like, cool, I know that I can go to this studio and get all of my packaging done. Like it feels right for me.
She just mentioned too, most of her friends call her that. She wanted to be more personal, but you nailed it. Your friends know that. The person coming to your site doesn't know that. So it's cute. I love that you got that, but got to understand where to specify a little bit more clear.
Yep. And it's hypocritical of me to give any real like advice on this, because literally I just rebranded as Hawk, just 4 letters. But I think if you're going to do it, again, specialist, go in on it. I remember when I announced that I was launching and branding to just Hawk, and I had Hawk.co as my new site and going to be like projects by Hawk.co, all of that. Someone was like, oh, you should have spelled it like with a K. People aren't going to know how to pronounce it. And my response literally was like, no, they will. Because it's that mindset that I have had forever. Is I'm such a specialist that I'm like, nope, I'm going to make them know how to say Hoch, which like everyone should say Hotch, but I'm going to condition to say the reality and perception should be that it is Hawk. And start to condition. So if you want Brench, go in on it, ignore everything that we said, and like literally show us who's boss. And I would absolutely love that.
Good tip.
Cool. Let's hop over into, actually, sorry, do you have, this is, okay. Hold on. I need to like wipe my forehead before we go here.
We dug a little deeper, Brenda.
We dug. It gets really hot in my room and I have a monitor above, and every time I look up and see my forehead, I just feel so bad for you that you have to endure the shine and oil. So I have a little like thing to wipe away for you guys. All right. So continuing on, we are your clients. I cut back to the screen that's just us because we're about to go somewhere. We are our clients, and I'm like, cool, let's find some more about Brench. Like maybe I'm confused about the Brench name. Let's figure out what Brench means, right? And so I go to this site of About Me. So I click on About Me, and it says, hello, my name is Brenda, but my friends call me Brench. I was born and raised in, Querétaro, Mexico, and I'm currently living in Oklahoma City. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator who mainly focuses on packaging design and branding. Boom, you are a specialist. You define it right there. But I can do a little bit of everything. This is literally exactly what we were saying, is you are a super specialist that also has generalist things. You just need to pull that generalist into your specialist. And then if I want to contact you, we're going to hop over here. Oh no, where did it go? Oh, did it disappear? Hold on.
What, IG?
Yeah.
Let's see. I will send it to you really quick.
So when we're talking about, that's literally how I feel about my second name. Not everyone can pronounce it correctly, but once they know, they recognize it. Yes, it's a ton of conditioning, and if you're going to do it, you have to know that you can do it and that you can communicate that at that level, or else it will end up being trouble.
Yeah.
What if you want to add something that isn't a whole project, just a mark or a logo? Don't.
Needs the full thing.
Yep, make it a project.
Make it one.
Can you send that to me on Slack, Nick? Sorry, if I pull it up in chat, it's going to be on the screen and everyone's going to be like, look at, they're talking. So yes, if you want to add a mark, don't do it. Even if it's a page of like a whole bunch of marks, you want to build it into a project and show people how it works in context, because potential employers want to see how they can relate to that.
And William, I would say just turn it into another food packaging project if that's what you're looking for.
Yep.
Why not?
Cool. So we're exploring more. We love Brenda's work, love her personal branding, and we keep clicking through and we find her Instagram. And we come across, and Brenda, we love you. And you can hate us for a second and you can feel bad. But don't feel too bad. So this is basically the idea for me, is if you are going to have something that is open for your clients to find, it needs to be at whatever you are presenting, right? Is that perception is reality. That the perception that we've gotten for your Behance and your website is like, oh my gosh, this work is insane. It's packaging. It's amazing packaging work. And then we come to the Instagram and I'm like, okay, it's illustration. It's very different. A lot of this kind of feels like it might be student work. And then I look and it's 37 weeks ago. And so I'm like, okay, cool. It hasn't been a while since she posted. And my hot take would be, if you aren't posting on this, take everything down. And literally you have so many case studies on your Behance and on your website that are so good. And I did the same thing. Kill your entire Instagram, like archive the entire thing, and then go back and start posting things as if people have never seen them before. You have 78 followers. I guarantee if you start posting some of these case studies, and do one a week, couple posts each day,
totally.
Like it's going to blow up. And that way, if an employer finds this, they'll be like, okay, cool. This is amazing work. It tracks all the way across to her website, all that stuff. We want this Instagram to reflect that. And if it doesn't, kill it. Yeah.
Good idea. Love that. All right. Cool. I hope you got, poor Brenda.
Yes. We love you, Brenda. That's what we're saying.
But that's why we care. We want to make sure you're killing it. That's why we're here.
Absolutely. All right. Let's hop over into Eric.
Or when are we announcing our thing?
Let's do it. Let's do it now. Do we want to do it now?
Now. Why not?
All right, cool. Here's a question from Narek. Do you want to answer this for me while I look at what we're doing?
When does a case study become too much? I think it's you will know it. It's like we've seen to the point where if the scale of all your pictures and the story is there, you don't need that much. You need maybe as a scroll, I'd say 3 to 4 full widths down, like, or heights of your screen down, like if that makes sense. If you're doing more, it kind of might feel as if you're not feeling too confident about stuff. Like even the cacao thing we saw, I think she could have edited that. There was too many good things in there.
I agree.
And I don't think she could take out 5 things and we'd still see everything she presented to us.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of if it's too much, that's a fine line. There's no way to determine it.
Yep. But on the other side, everything you cut from that Behance or website is another post you can put on Instagram. You can literally, and that's what I'm doing right now with Zealzine. I'm really just trying to plug it. But we made a bunch of social images, and this could be one or two things, but instead there's 3 posts each. I'm doing 9 posts throughout the next few days to make sure that people are experiencing it in new ways of getting exposure, and the amount of images you have, cut them down on your website and up on your Instagram. Because more content's king, especially right now. People are consuming everything and it's so noisy. You just want to give them a visual buffet.
Perfect.
Cool. So what we're going to do is we are going to have you in chat drop your name. Actually, we have your name because your name will be your username. So go ahead and drop, if you have it, a link to your portfolio and then what you want to see out of this show. So link to the portfolio and then what you want help with. Or what you want to see out of this show. We're constantly curating it, constantly building it to what you want. And we're going to be picking 2 names to do some one-on-one time with Nick and I. Getting feedback. We will give you all of our hot takes. We will make you cry a little bit, but then we'll come back together and do a montage where we're building the house back together. So in chat, go ahead and drop in link to portfolio and what you want help with or what you would want to see from this show. Those will start coming in. There are 600 of you in here right now.
Damn.
And so I want to see you guys drop in, making that chat go crazy. Smash that sub button.
When else do you get 30 minutes of this kind of treatment? This is going to be awesome.
That's true.
Can't wait.
That's true.
Yeah. And this will be fun too, because we will come back next week and share a little bit about the one-on-ones as well. So even though they won't be on the show, we will share a little bit about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So go ahead and make sure that you're dropping in there what you want to see. You want to see a portfolio being built. That's a good idea. And we will be doing that. All right. Some client tips. Oh yeah. Interesting. Would you want to talk about client stuff?
Oh God, 100%. That's don't get me started. And I won't name names because that way we could talk a lot about it, which is great. So for sure, I think would be fun too, is we could build a case study, kind of have a wireframe and start doing that a little bit too. That could be a fun 30-minute exercise one time.
That could be fun. Yep.
Yeah.
Expanding smaller pieces into full case studies. Love
that's
that.
a good one.
That's a really good one. Keep them coming, chat. We're going to leave it open for another, minute or so while we queue up our next designer.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want on the show, what you want to see in future episodes. UX case studies. That's actually a good thing. We haven't done many UX case studies. I totally agree. All right. I have picked our winners as they have been coming in. Keep telling us what you want to see on the show. But our 2 winners are William Blanco and Holly Costello.
All right.
Costello.
Damn.
Hello, Ralph. So those are our 2 winners. We'll be following up with you, or send us a DM on Behance. Right here, you can follow us, send us a DM, and we will follow up with you. The importance of copywriting. Yes, let's talk about copywriting.
Oh my God. 100%.
Yes, 100%. It's so important. All right.
Woo.
All right. Are we ready for the last hot take? Eric Todd, are you in chat? Are you here in chat?
Eric Todd. Please come to the front of the class.
And we'll be giving away, we'll be doing more giveaways of the consulting with us. So make sure you tune in every week. Make sure you are dropping stuff in chat, and make sure you are giving us your portfolios, because we need more content every week.
Yes.
If we don't have content, then we cease to exist.
Good job, guys. Glad to see. Can't wait to see
I got the pronunciation right. All right, basically starting from scratch, not sure what direction to go in with your portfolio. Yes, please make me cry. All right, cool. Eric Todd, hopefully you're in chat. If not, we're going to get into it. This is where Tired Andrew is going to get a little bit spicy. So let's hop into it. And again, all of the things that we're saying are to help you. It is our perception as 100%. An outsider, and that perception, again, can be reality. And so we want to make sure that as you're building stuff.
Oh, Eric's here. Great.
Oh, Eric's here. Cool. Sometimes we get in our own heads. And so I want to kind of give that outside perspective of how I'm experiencing this. So
this is what's so great about this show, is you and I are so different, because we have quite a good different of opinion on this, but I do hear what you're saying a lot too. So
Nick and I are about to go completely separate directions.
Head to head, baby. Let's do it.
I will give you the floor first.
Go. Okay, perfect. I will do this as well. So we started off here. We're looking through. Are we on this homepage? Is that where you are?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I was pleasantly surprised. I like the beginning of it with the boldness and the color and everything else there. My one critique was that I think showing work first is your best opportunity. And you have this huge black space with the greeting. I'd rather see some maybe revolving or sliding images of some of the work I'm going to get a chance to see here. That might be a nice one. I think you got a good picture. I think you have a great thing with the about myself. Eric, are you more specifically gearing this towards employment or freelance client work? I'd love to know.
Okay, that's a good question.
So let's go into.
Sorry, I have like.
Okay, go for it.
Yes, great. You keep going.
No, I want you, because I think you found most of the stuff from the very beginning. So if you want to.
Oh no, you totally go, and then I'll pick up after.
Okay, so let's go to portfolio.
All right, cool.
Great. So when we click here, you got the 9 tiles up?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think here as well, maybe let the design be more front and center than the huge graphic of the title. That way I'm feeling like I know, but we'll go into the ice pack hockey, if that sounds good.
Got it.
Okay. So again, I think you've got a good storyline. I like that you've taken a lot of time in putting together both a nice hero shot, whatever. My goal is here, like, can you center right on the first wolf image there, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm seeing so much here. All I need to see is this case study. The follow me, the other work is just so in my face. Go full screen with this. Show off this work as best as possible. You know?
Yep. And he says he's going for freelance right now.
Great. Okay. Even better. I think in this case, hopefully my comments would be for either way. But I think I'm seeing way too much other stuff. I want to see the work a little bit oomphed up, and some size going right to left would be fantastic. I don't need to see all the other work off to the right while I'm focused here, if that makes any sense. And then, that way this will look like a much bigger project. I think you'll get a lot more credit for it. That was like kind of my overall take on just what I went through with most of the portfolio pieces here. They did seem like if I saw them in a better template, like Anna's Bakery, I think you can click on that one if you want to go backwards.
Yep. Oh, no, I clicked on the wrong thing.
Sorry.
There we go.
Again, like these look like thumbnails, and they are. I know I can click on them and they get bigger, but don't rely on the person to do that. Show it to me like it's a theater, right?
Yes.
And give me everything big. I want to see these things. I want to see it. One thing I would say is I do like the Anna's Bakery. I'm not a big fan of like the cupcake icon itself. I don't know if there's some I know they're both on the rough side, but maybe just a bit more originality in that. We see a lot of cupcake, a lot of coffee, and a lot of beer in a lot of these student portfolios. So I don't want to just see another bakery one. Eric, I want you to have the best bakery one. Okay,
yep, absolutely.
That's my tip. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, here we go.
And then let's battle.
All right. So a little bit of context, Eric. You're looking for freelance. Are you student? Are you in the workforce? Where are you in your journey of portfolio and stuff? That'll give me a little bit context. I do have some hot takes, and so I'm just going to preface this with, I love you, and I'm going to say these things so that hopefully, like, the experience that you're tailoring, you can hear from an outsider how it's being experienced. What are good pixel dimensions for images? I always keep things at 1920 by 1080. They can probably be smaller, but that is a good 16 by 9 ratio to kind of get things going. I'm waiting to see what the answer is. Shows it. All right, cool. So here's my hot take for you. So when I was looking through this website and what I was experiencing is as I'm scrolling through, he's a junior. Okay, junior in North. Okay, cool. So yes, how I see this feels like a website presenting itself as a boutique agency. It feels like it's super high end and refined, and almost to me felt like it was almost on the verge of like snobby, that it's on the kind of line of really good and boutique to like, oh, there's like, I can do all of this, and like a little snobby almost.
Definitely give me one element that made you feel that way. I just don't feel that.
Yeah, I think to me it's the layout. It's like the minimalistness of it, the kind of header that's saying like, I can do all of these things. And then even for me having the about like right there right away, something about it to me just gives off this vibe that it is like this high-end agency, and maybe it's like it's so minimal that it feels like you're not trying to sell me.
Okay, there you go.
It feels like I'm not trying to. Okay, maybe this is it, and this is a little better way to communicate it. It feels like you're not trying to sell me, that like you're almost saying like, oh, you should understand how good I am. Because I'm like, okay, like what I need to like know more about this, or like see more. This landing page to me just feels like you should know my work. And that experience for me is like, I don't know. Yes, disagreement. Lisa is in.
I love it. Well, and your point exactly, and that's why I was saying like maybe do throw in the artwork here. I had a different take, but I think it's the same problem, and I love that. That's cool. Go ahead.
I don't understand you when I look at this site. I don't understand who you are a designer, what your voice is, what you're trying to say, other than I am all these things. And to me as a client, I want to know what you're going to do for me, not what you're doing for you. And so having that kind of switching is great.
Yeah.
And then to me, selling that kind of like high end feel, when I come down and look at, and especially this kind of stuff that has like the Office of Services, I almost think that it's just too much. Like maybe it's too refined, it's too many effects, too clean. To me, it just feels high-end, and then I get to the work, and some of this work is really, really good, but then some of it feels like the student projects that were assigned that would be good student projects, but my experience and expectation is like, oh man, it's going to be like this super high-end boutique agency. He does all these things, and then I get down, I'm like, oh, this kind of looks like a student project here, like the Anna's Bakery, we talked about it being the cupcake. To me, I need to see who you are and be better informed of what to expect when I land on your website.
In the first impression. Is that
in
like,
the first impression,
yep.
Yeah. And so my suggestions for this would be make it about your customer, who you're trying to get, talk about what you can do for them and how you can offer it, not about what you do, what you can do for them. And then as well as showing some of that work front and center so that me as a client can see that and be like, oh, I do want this. I want to be a part of this. And like, man, his work really does speak for itself. And so I think you need to find that balance of the copy and type selling something, but then also delivering on that with the work so that either one can kind of stand on its own.
Let's give him props for being a junior and having a pretty damn expansive website.
Yes. And I think that
kudos to you, dude. 100%.
That's part of the thing that why I was asking, because I was like, cool, if you're like in the workforce, then like the work should level up. If you're still a student, maybe the website needs to come down.
True, right?
And like of finding that balance so that I understand where you are, so that I don't get into a process and be like, oh, it's this boutique agency, and be like, oh, he's a student that's still learning. Okay, like my expectation was just different. The perception that I had was a little all over the place. So I would say right now, bring this website down a little bit. Maybe some of
put the work up front.
Put the work up front, some of the animations, the copy, the stuff you're trying to sell. Focus on your work and how you're growing in your thought process instead of trying to like sell yourself like this.
That was a fast hour, my friend.
That was a fast hour. We had hot takes. Oh, I think we just got cut.
We're done.
Okay.
Are we done?
I don't know. It looks like maybe
let's just sign off professionally.
Yep. So yeah, I guess we'll sign off. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Next week we'll be back at the same time. If you're still watching, not sure if it's there, but we will see you again, same time, same place next week. Submit your portfolios using hashtag Adobe Office Hours, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.